It's clear to me now that my upload schedule is about as inconsistent as an honest politician, but unlike them, I'm not lying when I say I'm really doing my best, guys, come on. That said, I think this video has taken long enough. From the conception of this journey over a year ago all the way up to where we're at now, it's been a roller coaster of a ride. So let's finally get through the multiplayer madness of the first Monster Hunter and finally put an end to this journey. Matching the theme of my upload schedule, my internet decided to be just as inconsistent, and to nobody's surprise, my first stream back involved enough troubleshooting to employ a team of IT professionals. Booting up the stream, things started off fairly well. Me and my man's Pokemingra did a meat grind where I got to show off my steak cooking skills. Hopping into our first hunt with a Cephadrome, the vibes quickly deteriorated halfway through the hunt. I used my trusted three corners technique to hunt the big fish down, but several stream starters later, and I decided to call it a night after wrapping it up. This was the first time I had this issue, so I got a bit concerned, but after looking a little deeper, it seems like my computer just struggles maintaining a network connection at times, and a restart takes care of it lickety-split. The next day is where things really took off. Unfortunately, I didn't have Pokemingra here to carry me through, so with a heavy heart, I set off to... I know. I'll walk you in a bit, okay? I promise I'll walk you in a bit. I need to record this, okay? I have to get this done. I have to get this done. The next day is where things really took off. Unfortunately, I didn't have Pokemingra here to carry me through, so with a heavy heart, I set off to hunt a few Idrome. Something I didn't take into consideration is how absolutely beefy these units were. True, they're usually the strongest of the Bird Wyvern trio, but this quest was half an hour easy, and the sheer amount of damage I had to do with one of the strongest weapons in the entire game had me feeling a little concerned about my chances with the rest of the quests. While my usual crew wasn't up and available to take on the great beasties of the in-game, there was a new fellow needing some help clearing the last few quests of low rank, and wanting to pay it forward and also not want to take on these 6-star monsters on my own, I decided to help them out, knocking out a few Gypceros along the way. At this point, Pokemingra was able to pop in, so I said toodaloo and went to beat up a Kezu. Having flashbacks of my first time almost timed me out against the chunky boy, I was shocked at how quickly we finished the mission, beating up this disgusting freak of a Slong in merely 20 minutes. At this point, I was feeling pretty confident, so we hopped into an egg quest where Skips was able to finally join in. Initially, my plan was to sneak in, grab the egg while someone distracts the Bullfangos in Area 4, with the egg runner rushing through. A quick and easy in and out, but my boys Skips and Pokemans had other plans, so we beat up the Rathian and made off with the loot. And the eggs. Next on the list was high-rank Plesioth. We already knew what would happen, and while he showed us his skills with instant transmission and his absolutely broken hitboxes, there wasn't enough to save him at the end of the day. Next up was the rough stuff, the infamous Powderstone quest. Low rank was bad enough, but high rank Rathalos definitely confused me. Wasn't it supposed to be a Gravios? I didn't even think about it, just accepted what was in front of me. He's faster than Gravios, but my experience beating this dude up multiple times made me confident I could get through this quest just fine. Of course, my head moderator made sure to remind me to graciously thank my team for the obvious carry, which I was more than happy to do, and by the end of the mission, I was confident in our progress towards the end of the multiplayer missions. Initially, I was going to end the day here, but after some good old peer pressure from Pokemans, I decided to do the other Powderstone quest while we still had a full party to help me out this time. Of course, I was properly chewed out for daring to do 3 delivery quests on the same day, an amount of psychological damage some would consider inhumane. But this was the last one, the very last delivery in the multiplayer missions. I could not do it, especially the discovery of how easy it was to make power drinks. With it only taking a rare steak and a catalyst, and catalyst conveniently being available for sale just one area over in the markets, I made several to bring along with me and finish the mission. One party-wide celebration later, I taken a nap and called it a day. Or at least, I try to. The next day started with an oopsie, as they tend to in my neck of the streaming space, with a good solid 6 minutes of black screen that my viewers were gracious enough to stick around for, and seeing a solo low-rank guy, my heart bled for the poor fellow. With Skips tagging along, I decided to help him out. It was supposed to be an easy mission, just catch a Gypceros. Pretty easy, right? Well, for those of you who don't know and are simply here to watch my suffering, catching some monsters in the older generation of games kind of comes down to a vibe check, as the youngins call it. We didn't have a mini-map that gave us the little skull icon when a monster was close to death. But since Gypceros was always either charging, spitting, or flying, there wasn't much of a limp to go off of either. Still, we assumed a quick and easy mission while waiting for Pokemengra, and became the poster child of why hubris will always lead to someone's downfall, no matter where you are, who you are, or what your experience is. It all started with a simple mistake. We put the trap down at a bad time, and while Gypceros was in the animation to fall asleep, I was in the middle of attacking him just in case his health wasn't low enough. Needless to say, he woke up very unhappy, and we left very unhappy. Alright, little mistake, happens to the best of us. Another try. This time I actually killed the stupid turkey, accidentally. I was thoroughly embarrassing myself at this point. I mean, yeah, he doesn't ever limp, so you kinda gotta predict when to capture the dang thing, but how was I supposed to know he was about to die? This poor new guy, I wanted to help, but I was just making the situation entirely worse. I thought about giving up, but I'm no quitter. Pokemengra was online at this point, so with a full party we set back out to undo the damage I was entirely at fault for at this point. It didn't take long, just 5 minutes later and the Gypceros was finally done and dusted. Also, apparently a way to tell if he's low on health is if Gypceros gets into his enraged state more often. Huh, thanks Pokemans. With that out of the way, it was time to finally get back into my own missions. First on the list was the Runaway Diablos. We'd already done the 6-star urgent quest somehow in an earlier video, 4 Horns, which is infamous in the first generation of games for being one of the hardest non-Elder Dragon fights to do. For the simple fact you're expected to fight 2 high-ranked Diablos in the same mission. But that was already done and over with, so I wasn't going to try to stretch this out any longer than it needed to be. Not that a single one was all that bad anyway. Between myself and my new greatsword, skits, and Pokemans, the tail was off within 5 minutes and the mission over in 20. The speed at which we were progressing is pretty substantial at this point. There were admittedly more missions than I thought left to go, around a dozen versus the measly 7 I'd planned for, but I could taste the end of this and I was ready for it. I wouldn't quit until I saw that completion tag by the 6-star quest. Surprisingly, we haven't done a Slay the Rathian quest yet, something that frankly shocked me, but it was there and it was incomplete, so after a painful amount of charging that made this fight as painful as a Gen 1 Wrath was somehow, we managed to eke out a victory. Next was something that took me by surprise, a double Gypceros hunt. I don't think it's something I could have completed on my own, frankly, considering how tanky this little rock monster is and how long it took me to get through a typical fight on my own. But 5 minutes in, Pokemengra and I managed to take out a Gypceros between the two of us, while Skit somehow soloed the other. Huh, maybe I'm under geared. Next was nothing of note, another Gypceros quest, but a single one this time. Obviously, this little fella didn't stand a chance, and he went down like the others. At this point, we were pretty close to the end. I knew I wanted to see if I could do another Cephadron quest for my video, considering how much the stream borked the last time. But by the end of it, I couldn't get it to come back into rotation after several attempts of refreshing the quest list. Still, we had a Kazu to beat up, and after my last attempt with the Rathalos Fire Sword, I was feeling pretty confident. Needless to say, the uncircumcised Chungus didn't stand a chance, and we had that wrapped up a few minutes later. But the next one was the mightiest Chungus of them all, the fearsome Gravios. I mean, I'm gonna be honest, this dude's insane hurt boxes and health pull aside, he's not all that bad. I've beaten Gravios quite a few times in the past, and maybe it's just my Twitch reaction Monster Hunter Wilds experience has clouded my judgment of the fight, but Gravios has always been a bit too slow to provide that much of a challenge for me. Pokemengra, you son of a Ignore that. And that's it. No more multiplayer. I've finally beaten all of the multiplayer quests in Monster Hunter 1. Oh. Well, before we wrap up this video, I just want to give the most massive thanks I possibly can to my wonderful community. Please come check out the Discord. Hang out. Even if you don't like Monster Hunter, I made this server as a way to try to combat some of the loneliness in the world, and people coming around to hang out and vibe has always been pretty nice. Also, I'm going to start posting video updates daily to my Patreon, so I can provide something for y'all while I try to get a good enough flow for weekly videos eventually, I'm sure. That way patrons can start getting a week's early access to content. Every week, I'll post all the updates for the next video in the Discord. Or if I finish the video within the week, I'll post the updates with the video. This ensures I'm providing something for people that want to support me, even if I don't think it's all that much. I do have a second channel now. Here it is. I'll be posting my Yap videos here from now on when I want to talk about myself, mental health, fitness, scam alerts, cooking videos, or topics around the game industry. I'm not exactly censored, so there may be some things I say that could be a little controversial to some people. Either way, I'll do my best to be respectful and nuanced about whatever I talk about. I'll also be posting workout advice, maybe some routines, cooking shorts, and videos, scam awareness, and also streaming whatever doesn't involve Monster Hunter here. My high effort videos will still be on the main channel, as will all Monster Hunter shorts and streams, but the second channel will prevent everything from getting cluttered. One last thing, I need to address the elephant in the room: the amount of time between videos. For those of you wondering, I am okay, for the most part. There's a lot going on, but by the time this video comes out, there should be a video on the second channel here going over exactly what is making it so hard for me to consistently post and why it's taken a month at a time per video. It's pretty sobering stuff and goes over pretty serious topics, so if you're just here for the fun Monster Hunter stuff, don't worry about it. Just stick around and I'll try to work on being more consistent. Eventually.